I saw that it was significant to the person, and so I didn't want to take that away from the viewing pleasure, I guess, of others that saw it and actually thought it was funny. And so I didn't want to be a critic about it because it was just so unfamiliar to me. But when I say it has to be like laughable and specific, if someone just starts laughing, but they still have this deep hurt inside, are they really laughing?
Yes.
Well, I'm saying, are they laughing? Are they laughing joyfully, or are they laughing? I mean, do you have to laugh it up to get the hurt out, or is it a laughter that is artificial, I guess, is what I was trying to figure out.
Some people laugh in fear, too. Like, they're afraid, and that's all that they can do. It's kind of like, to show that they're not a threat, they would laugh.
Laughter comes out in a lot of different ways.
So am I distorting it kind of like I was with love? You know, I was saying that love has to be an action, and then I discovered love is just in the beauty of things. Like you can find love in a flower or a bird or something that's beautiful. And so with laughter, if it isn't funny, I am not going to laugh, but someone next to me might be laughing, hysterically. So.
It's funny because they won't.
That's fine.
They won't teach comedy in college, and the reason why they won't teach comedy is because it's too hard to teach. Like laughter is like beauty; it's in the eye of the beholder. It takes an individual to decide what's funny and what's not funny to them, and no one else can determine that, for an individual. So if you don't find something funny, it's okay. You just not that type of humor is not appealing to you. But it was part of the laughing Buddha, and the reason why it was so hysterical to me, Mark, and the ones that were in the chat room is that I think that we had in common that we understood that sometimes we're in so much pain living, and we take certain things so seriously living that we forget that it doesn't really mean anything except for the lesson that you learned from it. And you could spend your time crying and we're in such turmoil over the specific thing that we have to learn and that we're going through, and we're in excruciating pain and life is just so freaking hard, and then all of a sudden this epiphany comes and we've learned the lesson, and then we look back at the way that we acted through it, the excruciating pain, and how we were so resistant to learn it, and it becomes so humorous. It's almost the equation of when you learned how to ride a bike and the other kids were watching you. And if you lived in the hood, this is a perfect example. You learn how to ride your bike and, you go over a bump and you fall on your behind. And everybody's cracking up and you don't find it funny at the time. But then you learn how to ride your bike and how to avoid bumps. And then one day you see some other kid riding this bike and you know what's going to happen. You're standing there and you're laughing before that kid even falls and busts his butt. Because you know that when he falls, you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh because it's part of life. It's part of life to fall on your behind. And when you learn that lesson, it just becomes humorous to some people. And some people it's not. But it takes all types.
Yeah, and to each his own. I'm not judging the situation. I just was wanting clarity as an observer. When I see people here in my face, that I communicate with, and I know that they have had, some ups and downs, and that they're still working on getting to a place of wholeness. And when I hear laughing, anyway, I just wanted to get clarity about that. Like, how can I even enjoy a comedy? For example, with my husband, if he wants to sit down and watch something that he thinks is funny, but it may not be very funny to me because I don't
I don't see someone else's hurts as funny. So if someone falls or runs into something, or excuse me, those different shows that they have that show people getting hurt and other people laughing, it's like not funny to me. And so I want to be engaged and not look at it or turn away or frown upon it. It's like, okay, I could still view this, even though it may not be funny to me, but because he wants me to sit and watch it with him, I can stomach it. But sometimes it's hard, and I'm just wanting to move beyond it. And so it helps. What you just said, it helps.
You know, Keyshawn, it's I can relate to what you're saying because when I was younger, I used to love sports bloopers. These people used to get seriously hurt, and it was like roll on the floor, funny to me, and it still is funny. But I can't watch the other types of comedies where people hurt themselves, like the skaters. You know what I'm saying? I can't watch when they jump off a roof or, break bones and stuff. A lot of people laugh at stuff like that. But I just can't quite find it funny. Likewise, I can't find it funny if somebody were to fall in front of me. Well, I know for, like, my sisters and brothers, they would, like, laugh. It would be so funny. They just wait for stuff like that to happen. But my immediate reaction always is to run towards the person and probably, help them up and see how they're doing. It's just in your humor. So as I've grown, that happened to me. I can't really laugh when it happens in my face. But when I was younger, I saw a girl flip head over heels on her bike, and it was so funny. It was so funny to me, but so it's not that you cannot enjoy and laugh more at some of the things that are not funny, because just the other day I don't watch Medea, but I was doing somebody's hair and Medea was on, and when the people in the house would laugh, they would laugh at stuff that I wouldn't laugh at, and I wouldn't look at it as not being in touch and not being able to relax and to laugh. Is just in your humor. A lot of times we find things funny that happen to us, so we know exactly how it feels. And since I laugh all the time, and there's so many different things that I laugh at, I notice that when I'm talking to my boyfriend about certain things that he thinks is serious, and since I'm in this level of knowledge, I would find it funny. And that's a good way of realizing that, if there was an all-seeing God and there was just one God, like the religions say, God would have a sense of humor, because those are the types of things I think God laughs at. Like, some people complain about bills, which is very hard. Mm-hmm. Bills are hard to pay. But when I see someone, say something about it, it'll be like a chuckle funny to me. But if I see someone sitting down worrying about it, then that would be like a push of action on my part, instead of feeling bad for the person to probably offer some advice. Well, I probably still feel bad, but that's how I would deal with it, instead of going into the cringe mode or the pullback mode, or in a mode that I have a problem working with, the offering advice as not asked mode. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you look at it. It's in your sense of, that's why they call it a sense of humor. It's your sense of humor. So you don't have to think that you're not relating. Some people, let's take, for example, very upper class people, the ones with a lot of money, their humor might be different. Like, they probably don't laugh at anything all day. It might depend on how miserable they are, but let's negate, how miserable they are and just say they're very high-class people. They probably don't laugh, but something will make them laugh. Maybe the lady's husband makes her smile or giggle. That's what's in her scope of sense of humor.
Mhm.
I have evolved to the point where things that make a majority of class of people laugh, I can laugh at their joke. It's something that comics go through. How do I make everyone laugh, not just black people or white people or Spanish people? I want to be a universal comic. That's something they go through. From the other end, you're looking at from an audience member like you or me. So I have gotten to the point where I can laugh at things that other people find funny, but it's just in my scope of sense of humor.
And so it comes a point where my question would be, are you laughing at me? Or are you laughing with me?
It doesn't matter because I can laugh at you. When I'm laughing about your microphone thing.
Well, not you. I'm saying in general.
I'm giving you an example, okay. To your question from my,
yeah.
When, to answer your question, when I'm laughing at this, girl, your technical issues, I'm laughing at you, Keyshawn. And then when you get on and I see that you're laughing, then we're laughing together. That's the scope of sense of humor. You understand? Because I'm getting feedback from your side that you're laughing. Yeah. I don't be getting no feedback like this. A few minutes ago, we weren't getting any feedback. But we were talking, trying to get your attention and laughing at the same time.
I see that. I can see that contrast. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I see that.
So we have enough sense. We have got our sensibilities to the point where we probably aren't laughing at people in general, especially their misfortune.
Because when we cry together. It's not like I'm crying at you. I'm crying with you.
How powerful crying is. Laughter is just as powerful because you can cry when you're happy and cry when you're sad.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you laugh so hard that sometimes you're so happy, tears of joy come out. And it's so powerful on both ends. All that negative energy it takes to cry and be sad, not be sad, when you're sad, and all that stuff that comes out, those excretions and those facial muscles. Likewise, our on the opposite end, when we do smile and we do laugh, and those secretions and those facial muscles and those heart things, physically what goes on in the body when we do laugh. So to practice and to make that a goal is as important as breathing, because apparently we're expected to be happy all the time in this lifestyle too. I'm not just saying in regular life to be normal and to be sad and happy, to be normal and have emotions like everybody else, so we can appear to be normal. In this lifestyle, this enlightened lifestyle, apparently we're supposed to be happy because that's what we keep. I mean, from all angles, I get that. And I agree because of the detrimental effects to sadness. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I agree with laughing all the time and trying to stay on the positive side. You understand? I mean, it's okay. I mean, I think it's okay to laugh and all this other stuff. I think it's just so powerful. So.
Laughter is powerful. Laughter is good. And that's the good thing where, to get it in perspective for myself, I laugh all the time because I feel that when I feel the joy, I cry a lot too, and it's not always tears shed. And so I guess there's a difference even if I'm laughing inside and yet it doesn't come out, as laughter, like audibly. I still have a sense of that joy and that bliss inside, but I guess my sense of humor is a little off kilter, so I need to refine, and that's what I'm doing, just to see exactly what am I laughing at, because a lot of things aren't really funny that's going on in this world, but if we can look at it in a lightness and find humor in it, I know that it will overshadow the negativity of it, and so I'm wanting to just for myself figure out where I'm at with my
laughter internally, whether it comes out or not, or my internal sadness that doesn't reflect outwardly in tears. And so what does that mean for someone else that's in my presence? If I'm being real, if it's not funny, I'm not going to laugh. If it doesn't hurt, I'm not going to cry. But since we see things inverted, then, am I really crying when I'm laughing? And when I'm laughing, am I really crying? You see what
It's
I'm saying?
determined by your being. I do understand what you're saying. And to know that, Keyshawn, it's determined by your being. Like your age and how things change. Like I was saying, you won't probably always find the same things funny.
Mm-hmm.
As your being changes, your sensibilities will, it comes with your laughter, and what you find funny in your humor is with your senses.
Mm-hmm.
Your sensibilities probably will change. So to step back, and determine what you find funny will be quite hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that will be a useful. I'm not saying not to do it, but I think when you are laughing, not when you're laughing, but when you do laugh at something, and you want to take a step back and look at if it's funny, just don't get OCD with it, because then nothing would be funny.
Right.
So that maybe I'm talking to myself. Just don't overanalyze something,
That could be so simple and natural.
especially when your intentions are already set in place. Not even set in place. That's why it's not good to speak in definite terms.
Right, right.
Like saying what you find funny. That's endless. What do you find funny? You know what I mean? So, just don't over.
And I guess the breakthrough I'm looking for is, and I mean, the information so far is helping me expand. But when I found myself sad and hurt and crying tears of sadness, I didn't like that feeling because I had been in, the other state for an extended period of time, and then, something catches you off guard and you didn't even expect it, and now all of a sudden it went from happiness to sadness, and now I have to figure out how to get back to that happy place or just let the process go through. And like I've talked about before in calls a couple of weeks ago, I'm working to instantly diffuse, what doesn't work for me. So the many energies that come my way through individuals, it's like just finding a way to detour myself or situate myself to where I accept it to a degree, but I don't let it penetrate me. And so when it's something that hurts, that could have been avoided, now I'm sad. I want to figure out how to get back to that happy place. And so I guess I'm still working on getting that instant neutralizing factor into my life so I could zap it at the door and not let it penetrate me and put me down when I need to be up. I guess it's in that space when I feel like I need to be at a level of happiness or joy or bliss, and then something knocks me down. Yeah, and so I want to be able to invert it instantly when I need to. And then I could soak in it at times and just lay back and feel pain. But
if your goal is to zap it, because I completely understand what you're saying. So if your goal is to zap it, first you got to practice it. You have to practice neutralizing the situation. Find something that works for you first, and then use that. You understand what I'm saying? But if you want to practice it, it's very important not to. What's that word you use? It's very important not to waddle in it. I mean, for lack of better words, it's very important to move on. Very, very important to move on.
Yeah.
That determines your vibratory rate. So, Saturn got some pretty huge rings on it. And you don't want to be in that state for too long, especially if you haven't reached your crystallized state that you want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to stay in that state for too long.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to be sad. You're not going to get over that. You know, and you're going to carry that with you. And that is very important to moving your energies up and down your body anyway, because that's all we have for our brothers and our sisters. Mm-hmm. We do have joy, but most of the joy comes from hopefulness, at least on my part. And I think my hopefulness outweighs my sadness, although the feelings are pretty strongly felt, both in the womb and the heart. You know, we still cannot stick in that because, I mean, for goodness sake, we was already born in it. So, yes, work on, find a method that works for you first, and then practice it, because the practicing, as you know, turns into, it manifests. Mm-hmm. You know, it manifests to a point where you could just do it, and then you can get to the point where you want to be. Like me, I'll be sad, I'll think about it, I'll invert it myself by, you know, countering it with at least an equal opposite, if not a stronger opposite. Mm-hmm. You know, so my mom died. Okay, that's the worst thing that could happen to me. So she was, when she died, you know, she had the soul of an archangel, you know. I don't know, look over there. They're not over here. Sorry, excuse me, guys. Yeah, but yeah. She was. I mean, I'm pretty sure. You know, regardless of. I mean, that's how I deal with it, and I'm pretty sure it's true. You know, she was just a very loved person. Everybody loved her. She didn't do anything wrong to anybody. I'm pretty sure she did in her life, but she probably made up for it. You know, I'm not saying before she died, but that's how I dealt with it to make it, her death being gone, better. And we can, you know, we can go on and on, the rape babies and, you know, the missing children and the, you know, the single mothers and, you know, the fathers who, you know, deals or, you know, whatever problems men have, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, I hope that helps.
For sure. Absolutely. I'm laughing inside now. You know, that also came from, you know, how you work in business and stuff, and you still have the online environment, or even people that type in and they put a little smiley. I would work with a couple of women who would verbally say, you know, they would be talking really, really bad about the person they're sending an email to. And then they would send this email with a smiley attached to it. And, you know, that goes across to everybody that's, you know, CC'd in on the message. And I'm looking because I hear firsthand what they said, how they really felt. And then they transmitted it over the airwaves with a smiley attached. And so it's like, what's real and what's not, and not to judge. Again, I always observe to see how I can improve, and so that's also where that question came from as far as laughter. When it's funny, when it's not funny, how serious is it, you know, and how true
is the person being when they do attach a laughter to something. Yeah, it's two totally different worlds in the reality, and so yeah, I agree. But it can happen too on the other side. Not that I'm looking forward to. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I realize, we're human too, and I think that part of the problem is that was brought up. We spend a lot of time trying to be joyful, and we hear, I'm loving light, and rainbows and flowers and butterflies, but we try to deny the other part of us, that we do get angry and frustrated and malicious at times because we're human, and that's part of the human experience, is to acknowledge certain feelings come up. And I think by putting them in check and saying, yes, I feel that way, it's easier not to act out on it and to check oneself and figure out where those feelings are coming from, so that they don't happen to keep reoccurring, so that you're putting smiley faces in a chat box while you're telling someone else that you can't stand that person.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the balance and figure out why is it that you're having these certain feelings. Because for me, when I realize that a lot of times when somebody gets under my skin or they get on my nerves, it's because they have an aspect of me that I don't appreciate in me. So I'm trying to run from it, and that projection. I can't stand them. They get on my nerves. They're getting underneath my skin. There's a part of themselves in me that I may be suppressing or, constricting, so that I don't have to deal with it. And we think that, okay, well, if I don't acknowledge that part of me, it doesn't exist, but it does. And humor for me is cultural. Like, for instance, the joke I typed one time, are there hood rats in outer space? Many people didn't get it, but the ones that did get it they thought it was hilarious. It's cultural, but it's also personal too. Like, when my kids can hurt themselves, and they'll be crying, and they'll come to me with those eyes, and their eyes are full of tears and stuff, and I can hold them, and I can laugh and say, oh, you really bust your butt, didn't you? But I'm cleaning up the blood, or I'm holding them, and I'm giving them the comfort that they need, and letting them know that in life we hurt ourselves, we fall down, things happen that we don't appreciate, but you know what? Life goes on. And what better way I have to show my daughters is to laugh through it. But that's my style, because most of the time when I laugh, I'm laughing with someone, because I've already been there and done that. And I know the pain that they're in, but I also can fast forward and see that on the other side of that is a lot of healing, and there's growth. And that experience that they went through, it's a good thing, not something bad, And so I like that Laughing Buddha guy. He's really, really cool. And I guess I have a warped sense of humor. Like I said, it's personal, because, from molestation and rape and battery and poverty and degradation and drug addiction and mental illness, to all the other things that I've accomplished, like being a student and a mother and a wife and, a Sunday school teacher and, the whole opposite side of the spectrum. I can appreciate and laugh at many different things, because I realize that there's so many lessons, and we struggle so hard not to feel things, not to be who we are. And it's by going through that experience and feeling those feelings and letting them out that we actually accomplish being that crystal we were talking about before, and that beautiful thing. So I find it humorous how we struggle so hard. I see my sisters and brothers. I see them in myself, and I see myself in them. And so I laugh often. I have dark humor. I make a joke that, if I was chained up in hell and I was about to die, if I wasn't already, I could find a joke. And I probably could, because I've already been there. I've laughed, like Kara said, to make things not hurt. And I've laughed because they hurt. And I found it funny, because I knew that once I got through it, I was like, girl, you just bust your butt. That was oh boy, he just really got you. Oh, they really messed you up. But guess what? I laughed because I knew that 10 minutes later, a year later, a week later, a couple of days later, it was all going to be okay. And I was going to be able to use that experience to my benefit. So I laughed because I knew nothing that happened to me, and I still know nothing that happens to me is going to stagnate me there. But trying to govern the way that I experience each moment is not cool for me. I just let it roll. If I cry, I cry. If I laugh, I laugh. If I get aggravated or pissed off at somebody, I just do. But if I, sometimes, my favorite times is just when I get these moments when it's like my whole body's tingling and I look at the whole life's experience, the pain, the joy, the epiphanies, the places where I didn't know where I was going. I mean, it all just like sits right there in my dome, and I'm like, wow, this is mind blowing. To think, like Carolyn was saying, what God might think when He's looking at us flailing around, thinking that some things are so serious, and we forget to enjoy the whole journey, the whole spectrum of it all. And when I get that in my head sometimes, and it doesn't happen all the time, just yeah, it gets me so high. I'm like, wow, I'm actually able to sit here and levitate and enjoy the whole spectrum of it all of it, and just have this deep understanding. And it seriously is all good. I mean it when I say it. It's all good. Every worst moment, you know how they have the like Carolyn said, the highlights where people busting their butt on the bloopers. You know, I can go through my life and pick out all those moments and be like, oh, boom, 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 boom. Tell on got hurt, got maimed, but here I am, boing, I'm bounced back up, and I'm still here, and it, you know what? I have those experiences to laugh at and share with other people, and it's exhilarating. It's exhilarating when you've been in so much pain and you felt like you had to govern every moment just to stay alive. I'm like not just existing anymore. I'm living.
And
laugh.
that's what Kira wanted to know. She asked, are you laughing because you honestly enjoy it?
Oh, yes. I enjoy every freaking giggle. I enjoy it because, just look at what you've been through to get here. Look at how you can look at yourself in the mirror and smile and appreciate who you are. I hope that you're in that place where you can do that no matter how many dark moments you've had or how much you've been hurt, that you can still love and you can still share your life's experience and you can still laugh. That's the joy of living, and no one can take that. When no one can take that from you, and it's just, that's something to smile about. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And I swear, that laughter keeps me out of the nut house. Being able to laugh at my downfalls and how other people treat me sometimes, oh, wow.
Well, some people's laughter has put them in the nut house, so it's good it's keeping you out.
I got a joke about that one, too. One time, I was in a shelter, and I was a young woman. I was in my, maybe about 21, and I didn't have anywhere to go, and I was traveling through the Philadelphia area, and I was staying in the shelter, and they had the women at church do this cooking class and experiment on different dishes. Who did they experiment on? Us. So every night they'd bring us this most horrible stuff, and we'd eat it because we were starving, and that was the only meal you got while you were staying at the shelter, and you got kicked out during the day. So when you came in, you had no food, you had no money, you were looking forward to eating something, anything, it didn't matter, and you sat down there, and this food was so horrible, you couldn't even enjoy it even though you were starving. So this last night that I was in the shelter, it was my last night because we're sitting there and I'm looking around the table at everybody's faces and they're so serious and the kids are eating and I'm hearing this crunching and I take a bite and it was awful and I crunched and I looked at the faces and the eyeballs as the crunch set down. You can tell they just wanted to scream and say, why do you keep feeding us this mess? But nobody could do that because the protocol was you stayed silent and you stayed grateful, even though you're being used as guinea pigs. And when the whole reality of it all hit me, I couldn't help but laugh. And at first I started crying because it was so sad. And then I bust out laughing hysterically. And that put people off. And I'm looking at around the table, and I'm like, this stuff is crap. And then everybody else started laughing. There was a couple of giggles and then a couple more giggles, and the whole table was cracking up. And those women who had brought the food got really aggravated that I had started all this and asked me to leave the table. They called the ambulance, the police, and they carted me away and put me under 24-hour observation in the hospital because I found humor in what was going on, and I made it from that journey from laughing to crying. And I remember that experience, and so I am a little careful around some people when I start cracking up at things that they normally would find sad.
Mhm. That's interesting. Kara, who is this person you're talking about? You said this they only express their anger and stuff now, and so the laughter is totally removed from their lives.
Okay. Well, this person she's my sister. So I grew up with her, and we all grew up in different situations, so we all act different. Like, we all have completely different personalities, and her way of dealing with what we went through was laughing. Like, she would make jokes. She would laugh at, people's pain. Something happened, and she would make a joke. Everybody could be down, and she would make a joke, or she would find something to laugh about in it. So that became who she was. She always appeared happy. She never had complained about anything. She might have gotten upset over things, but exactly, she wasn't really happy. And a part of me knew she wasn't really happy, but I couldn't really figure out how to get to her and, get her to express how she felt. And this is just recently. She turned 21. Her birthday's the day before mine, so she turned 21 that day. And I spoke to her every now and then, but when I speak to her, she's not laughing anymore. She couldn't take it anymore. Like, something happened in her life where she was really depressed. She completely changed. She cut her hair. She started wearing makeup. She cusses now. There's a lot of anger coming out of her now because all she did was laugh. And I think that, something did happen. Something did happen to her, and she just couldn't take it. She couldn't hold it anymore. She looked at me one day, and she just started to cry. So that's why I was asking when you laughing because you honestly enjoy it, or are you trying to cover up how you actually feel about it? And if you honestly enjoy it, then that's good. I don't think it's good to laugh out of pain, like the Buddha guy. He said he didn't exist. He was laughing because he could. I think he was laughing because he was just like, I don't know. It's like you couldn't deal with it any other way, so you just laugh. And then you come back and you'll think about it again, and then think about, because if I thought I didn't exist and I laughed, I know I've laughed at problems before because I didn't know how the other way to handle it. But when I come back and I'm alone and I'm in my head, like, I may have started thinking some things that are not as positive, and they might not have been funny at that time because I'm alone now. So it's kind of like when people laugh, like in movies, like, they just made it over a cliff. They jumped for a leap of faith or something. They just made it, and they know they couldn't. There was a chance that they couldn't miss, but they laugh because they're so happy that they made it. Like, that type of laughter, I think it's healthy. But if it's laughter coming from any other way, I don't think it's healthy because it's another way of bottling it up. And that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because I did have to laugh Well, after the event happened yesterday, I looked at what didn't happen and it freaked me out. Like I trembled because of what didn't happen, and I was grateful that, I didn't get hurt. And then later on that evening, I laughed so hard, like I was protected. Like seriously, there was something that diverted that energy that was trying to hurt me, and I am still here to tell the story. And so I got a major amount of humor in the fact that there was something that is really there attempting to hurt us and harm us, and yet we can still live through it and share it and then overcome and move forward and grow. So yeah, I understand that. Thanks.
Some people get broken by the experiences they go through. That's another reason why I laugh, is because as soon as I can feel the corners of my mouth go up and hear the sound come out, I know that's not going to stop me. It's a gauge for me because, I've also been through so many experiences and tried to have a good attitude and keep going, where I ended up, very hurt, and in really bad situations where there wasn't any laughter in the past, But I learned, you learn as you go, hopefully. And if you're forming into, for lack of another example to use, a crystal, or something, beautiful piece of art, you learn by trial and error. And so I developed my own kind of style and technique of dealing with life, and people and situations. And, that's something that always saves me, because I have been broken in a corner, trembling, locked up, in the psych ward. And I was written off a few times, told that I wouldn't come back, and I'm not even supposed to be able to make a sentence, a normal sentence, and have a conversation and be able to follow a conversation or read a book, or let alone write a book or raise a family. So I feel joy in every step that I take. But that's something that I'm very grateful that the universe gave me, because I do see a lot of women that I consider even better than I break and fold under the pressure of life. And the fact that I don't, and I have the ability to find humor in some of that darkness, I'm very grateful for it, so I use it.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of tell if somebody is, you can kind of tell, because there, how there are certain facial muscles in the face. If someone is smiling and stuff like that, you can tell if it's a genuine smile or if it's a fake smile. I mean, it's so sad. I can totally understand what Kiara was saying about her sister, because you know how it's just something so sad about seeing a man cry. But you kind of get that sinking feeling when somebody puts up that fake smile. You really feel bad for the person, and I can identify it when I see it. You can tell when the person is not happy, and when they have that sad smile. Oh, it's just, they clearly, the person probably wants to smile, and some people do have fake, the fake smile. You can always tell, but you can tell a genuine laugh too, and you can tell yourself in your own body if you're having a genuine laugh too. Just like when you're crying, and how they release, the same secretions in the body. You can tell when you're holding back when you're crying. There's a tension, between the throat, the shoulders, and all this other stuff, versus when you just letting it go, and all you feel is a constant release of emotions and floods. It's almost like a water pouring through your entire body. And just like that with laughing, when you in class and you can't laugh, but the teacher keeps wearing that stupid wig, and God forbid you and your friends made a bet you know, and and when you're holding back versus somebody who is sad and you can tell when they're usually used to laughing and you're trying to get them to laugh and they're not laughing, and when they do laugh, or you can tell in your own self too, that tension between the same area, like when you're crying, between the neck and your facial muscles and stuff like that. So you can tell when you're fake laughing, I just wanted to say that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a couple of things. One, how I want to say there was a show months ago, maybe in the summer, where Savan was talking about Buddha. And if you noticed on most Buddha figures, the Buddha is smiling. And he expressed how to make one smile opens up the pineal gland, I believe, and so it's known in certain cultures to smile to keep that center activated and open. And so I could say, and I said before, fake it till we get there, but with a smile that's genuine, like I've seen so many flash my way. When I see those other artificial smiles that come my way, what I can do is offer them my genuine smile so they see what that looks like and know that that will resonate through, some type of a ethereal form. And then it made me think also another time where, my husband, he likes current events. He likes talking about the earthquakes and the destruction and everything that goes on. And I'm sitting over in my corner cringing, like my shoulders go higher and higher and higher. And then it could be something that he'll laugh about, like if he's watching. So there's some new stuff that's online where, people are actually tricking people to laugh. And then they'll reveal themselves as being like candid camera or whatever. And I find myself, some of it isn't funny to me, and I see myself doing that same reaction, like I'm trying to prevent myself from laughing with him. It's like this tension that comes up where I'm like all tense and tight and all, and so I just could relate to that, and I could see it in myself. And so releasing all the judgment about what's funny, it's like, just go with the flow and let it be. If someone wants to laugh about it, let them laugh. Like, it's not like I'm letting them do anything anyway, but I'm allowing myself to at least enjoy the company of someone if that's what they prefer, without that tension and that, I can't stand that kind of stuff anyway. It's like, let that go. It doesn't even matter. And so let's move forward. Let's see, it's Kiara, Regina, Carolyn, and Roxy, and I. So we do have some other things we can talk about in the area of work. And not, when I say work, I just mean things that we enjoy doing, that we've been doing together. And Roxanne, can you speak, or you're still unable to?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It's a little staticky on my side.
Can everybody else hear me? I'm trying to go through like 5 different things, so it might be a little bit low. So
it's loud and you sound like a Sprint commercial. Can you hear me now?
hang on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Just a little bit of information on the background of this. I've been, in with the mental health community services for many, 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 many years. And I attended a national NAMI meeting. It's for the National Alliance for Mental Illness, where there's a gentleman. He is a world-renowned orthopedic surgeon. And he got in a car wreck and broke both of his arms. And so many, many, many years, he could not do his chosen profession, which was surgery. He worked through the Mayo Clinic. And in the interim period of time between his car wreck and the time where he could go back to work, he wrote this book. And I think I texted it to you guys. I don't know if you saw it. But it's called We Are Stronger in Our Broken Places. And he likened, this body, this soul, the spirit, everything into what happens to a bone when it breaks. I mean, it's totally crushed, and it is painful, and it hurts, and it takes a long time for that bone to heal, But once that bone is healed, then that bone is actually more strong than the rest of the bone around it. And then he translated that into also when we have a mental breakdown or, a spiritual breakdown or a physiological breakdown or a metaphysical breakdown, and we come through the pain of that break and the pain of that healing, and when we come out the other side of that, and we're talking even like, victims of all the stuff you guys were talking about. Once we get through the beginning, the middle, and the end of that whole experience, then we have, and the scar tissue is what helps us stronger, because that's basically what happens with the bone. It happens with anything that breaks. There is scar tissue around it, but it also makes it so it's more strong. So if you get someone that has severe schizophrenia and a drug addiction problem, and they go through all the things, and they come out and they end up with 15 years of being a person living a clean and sober lifestyle, you find those people to be one of the most solid in their recovery. They are the ones that have more fortitude, that can continue to have that good, clean lifestyle, more so than the ones that did not have the dual diagnosis, or the ones that weren't completely broken down to absolutely nothing and had to regrow and rebuild. And those people that have had those experiences that all of us have been talking about today, and we come out the other side, boy, we are stronger, and our world is broken. Our countries are broken. Our borders are broken. Our earth is broken. And we as a community are coming back together, learning how to go through the pain of understanding that we're broken and that some things might not be the same. And then we're all going through the pain of having to, heal all of these broken places. And now all of us are moving in, to the end part of it, where now those broken places are more collective. They are stronger. They are, basically unbreakable. The other things around it that haven't gone through that break easier, but the ones that have been broken and healed and come through and are done, then we are stronger. So as we all walk side by side with our arms, I have a friend on one arm and another friend on the other arm, and we're all working in unison, and we are all coming from broken places. And the fact that we are now connected, you know what? It can't be broke. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm encouraged by this, and I love this, and I love you people, and I'm glad that you guys are part of the healing and that area now where I have been broken in so many areas. Now, I'm on the latter end of being completely healed, and you guys are all part of those scars and that beauty and those bones and that support system that has made all of us, and I say we, and I mean we, so much stronger. And the platform we have, I mean, you know, it's just amazing. I'm sorry, you guys. I just get so excited about all this stuff, and I just get all tingly and goose fleshy and everything because I feel it. I feel your love. I feel your vibrations. I never thought I would ever come to this point in my life where I really liked being here on Earth and liked being around my family, which I consider you guys my family now. You guys are my family. I have a biological family and I love them, but you guys are my soul family. You understand me. We can talk. We don't have to feel like we have to be guarded or not say something or not share, because I think we all have this level of trust now that, oh, you know what, even as nutty as it sounds, there's going to be at least one person out there that goes, oh my gosh, you're telling the same story. You're telling my story. And we've got all those similarities. And we're finding out that there's more of us broken people out there than there are that aren't. And I'll bet you $10 that even the people that are saying, oh, I'm not broken, really are. They're just in denial and won't admit it and don't feel comfortable, nor do they feel safe in the environment that they're in to express that. So, you know, I mean, wow. I just love you guys. I just love you all. I hope you know that. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
I like what you said, you know, and I agree. You know, there's so many people running around and they're screaming, you know, the world is burning, it's on fire, it's on fire. And, you know, it's almost like they do have their hands up in the air running this way and that way. It's burning, it's burning. And, you know, I'm just standing there nice and calm along with, you know, some other people that I know that understand. Okay, so it's burning, so, you know, dance around the flames then, because what are you going to do? You know, if the time is now and it's burning, then you better find something to do with those flames because, you know, otherwise it's kind of counterproductive. And if I can find a joke in it, most people think it's distasteful, but then I know I'm on the right track because I agree. You're right. A lot of people are trying so hard to appear so well put together, and they just have so much pain and hurt inside, and it's not being addressed. And we'll never heal that way, you know. So if you can crack a joke and bring it to the attention that the pain is there, you know, but there's also healing, then, you know, all better for the pain that we've been through, to be able to be there to do that, to, you know, to embrace that moment and let them know that it's okay. Gee, well, I can tell that went well.
Yeah, really well. Okay. Good morning, guys.
I'm back. Sorry about that. What did I miss? Is it time to get off the line?
No. I just have to. I'm coming. This is Roxanne. I'm coming in and out just because there's technical difficulties. But you know, there's another thing that I have been discussing with quite a few professionals and group members and that, and they're talking about, you know, especially women that have, you know, I hate labels, but for lack of a better word, have the capability of being clairvoyant. I think clairvoyant just means that, you know what, we've learned how to tap into that universal truth stream, you know, and I just think that everybody needs to acknowledge to themselves that all of us people that have been told, oh, we're crazy or we're dumb or whatever, has been, people trying to suppress us because they are very, very frightened of the mighty souls we are and the power that we have to be able to create our own worlds, to create our own universes, and there's so many people that have been so immersed in the controlling and the dark arts and the spelling and the keeping those people down that can prove that they don't need anybody's permission, that they don't need to have someone to pray to or someone to give their energy to, they're afraid of us because, by all means, we don't want anything bad to happen to anyone, but, and we do want to walk, hand in hand, but there are those people and things, and you know what I'm all talking about, that unfortunately, we have to say, what, I'm sorry. I wish you were on the same page as me. I wish you had the same intent as me. But because of your maleficentness, because of your hate, because of your intent to do harm, then I disallow you to be part of me, my spirit, my mind, my body, my community, my family. I disallow you to be part of that. And if, I don't know about you guys, I want to take care of everybody. I want to be everybody's mother. I want to, go out there and step in front of the bullet so it doesn't hit somebody else. And I have done that a lot of times, and it's really completely destroyed me. And it's taken a long time to be able to put those borders up, and say, okay. But we like we've been saying on the, side, it's time for us to be grown-ups now. We've got enough experience. We have enough life experience. We've got the information. And we already have that pre-physical existence information and knowledge, this foreknowledge that we are born with, but are unable to access until we get to a point where we're in an enlightened state, such as we are all starting to become higher and higher and higher enlightened beings. And I'm talking about even on the physical plane, we are ascending and ascending and ascending. Our bodies change, but I mean our bodies, our physical mind, the physical matter in this dimension mind is actually expanding and growing and admitting higher vibrations and admitting higher sounds and is being more and more active. It's very interesting to look at a brain scan, like a PET scan, or something of a person who is just sitting there talking, to a friend, relaxed, or a person that's talking to someone with anxiety, in a lot of anxiety, somebody that's talking to someone for an interview, and somebody that is sitting there and focusing and meditating. When you look at the brain map on these different types of scans, the person who is sitting in, in your meditative position, whichever works for you, their entire brain shows up. Every single bit of that brain shows activity, even though you are doing absolutely nothing but focusing and meditating. You're using 100% of your brain. No, you can't stay in that realm for a really, really long time. But for those moments, you can access all of your brain. It's just learning how to do that. And this is a new frontier. This is a new capability. This is a new knowledge that we're all starting to understand and bless Savan and I mean this not in the religious bless, whether, I mean, bless his heart, bless your hearts, bless everybody for being willing, to step out of that box and say, yep, I can meditate. I'm using all of the brain power I possibly can. And in that moment where you're using full potential of your brain, you can make things happen. Just like how Stefan made the resistance happen. How Kishan and us ladies are making this women's group happen. How we are spreading the word about our actions. Instead of, talking, we are showing people how this can happen. And, wow, I mean, what a ride, what a wave. I mean, woo-hoo, I don't know if anybody's that excited, but I am. Anyway, that's all.
I was thinking about the overall, like the macro picture of what we've been talking about, and that's, for me, we're not here to make anybody else happy or to please anyone else with the template of how we conduct ourselves, and how we choose to live. Each one of us is their own individual. So, if one is not pleased with someone else around them, we do have a choice whether we want to associate or not. And we have a choice on what we want to believe or not, which is the reason why I like the resistance site so much, is no one's telling me to adopt any particular concept, and I'm just rebellious by nature. I can only be myself. And so a lot of times I stood by myself. I was alone before, I met other people that had similar interests or could even give me more information about myself and the things that I was experiencing, because I didn't know what a lot of the stuff was. I didn't have any technical terms for it, and I wasn't aware that a lot of it was, some of it was documented. A lot of it was documented, whether it was ancient or, whatever label you want to slap on it for knowledge. And it's nice to know. I mean, I can't tell you how I felt when I got here and I realized that I wasn't alone in the type of way that I was thinking. And, that means a lot to me. However, there comes a time when you have to realize that you're your own individual and you're designed the way that the universe meant for you to be designed, and that you can't have a hand with all thumbs. We're all different for a reason, and we all have a purpose. It's like if the universe is spreading all this energy out and giving knowledge, we may all receive a similar message, but we're not going to act on it exactly the same way. And just because you don't see a person that you care for or that you've locked your attention on behaving the way that you do or conducting themselves the way you do, doesn't mean they didn't get the message or they're not on the same journey, because we all have the same direction but different paths, and it could be vice versa. So, and realizing that makes all the difference. I'm just very open to other people expressing themselves the way that they choose to, and I still sometimes get stuck in feeling like a little insecure at times, because I know I have a very strong personality, and I can be over the top for people that are a little bit more subdued. And I'm an acquired taste, I guess, just to be around for any length of time. And me knowing that, being aware of that, makes me feel uncomfortable around certain people. Yeah, I laugh too. I walk away laughing knowing that I've made someone else uncomfortable, because there's nothing I can do about it, because I need to be me. But at the same time, I've been asking myself lately, is there a balance in that? Do I have a responsibility, and how much of that is my responsibility to make someone else feel comfortable, if it's about giving them a message or opening them up to something that may save their life or get them free. I don't know, and I don't believe that the same methods that were given to us by being restrictive you know, of who we are and what we're about is going to help someone else become who I am. For instance, the church, the design of what a Christian is supposed to look like, you know, and the things that they're supposed to believe. Like, I don't believe that things should be prepackaged for anyone. You either buy it or you don't. And if you don't buy it from me, if you're meant to receive it, then someone else will be able to give it to you because you're open to it. So the universe will send it. So I'm finding myself now, even at my, I'm finding myself now struggling with, like, it's like a big blast in my face of who I am and what I stand for, and that I'm kind of in for it. I'm on the front line, just like a lot of you. We're on the front line, and each of us standing in our own individual personalities on that front line. And when we hang up this line, we have our families and friends and whoever else we come into contact with. Sure, honey. Yes, you can have all of them.
Oh, please.
Thank you. You're welcome. You know, what does that mean? You know, it can get really intense sometimes. And you walk away from conversations like, whoa. You know, like that little hand in there that sweeps the forehead and wipes the sweat off. It's like, it gets really intense. And you have to, I'm finding out that you have to know that you know that you know who you are and what you stand for. And it has to be, I have to be totally truthful with self about who I am. And that's been, you know, that's been exhausting at times, but also exhilarating. So
I see that too. It's like what I've learned, Regina, is that there was a time where I would analyze, well, I still analyze things, but my gosh, I used to do it worse than I do now. And it would be where I would think others were thinking certain things or, you know, sending out certain vibrations my way. And it was brought to my attention that that was an unskilled competency, that, you know, being one who thought too intently about what others thought was creating this idea in myself of what I needed to show outwardly. Like, what I was presenting to the world was what I wanted them to see based on what I thought they thought, if that makes sense. And it created a lot of anxiety in me years ago. And I do think as we go along the path on this spiritual journey, you know, the same can apply, but how accurate was I in thinking that I knew exactly what they were thinking? How accurate was I thinking I even knew who I was because I was showing through their eyes. I was trying to be who I thought they wanted me to be. And when I settled in myself that I no longer cared about what people thought of my dignity anymore, I didn't care how I presented myself. It was more, I released thoughts of what others were thinking of me. And you can even tell, I'm sure you and Carolyn could see the growth or the lack thereof over the last few months, even from summer to now, in being able to articulate or converse words in a way that I don't have to think about it or try and critique it before it even comes out of my mouth. I'm just letting it come out, and whoever can understand it, they can understand it. And if they can't, you know, I'll do what I can to clarify it. And so what I know I need to do, like you said, is we have to know that we know ourselves. I agree. And it is a constant
process of attaching and detaching and grafting in and like bobbing and weaving and picking and choosing exactly who we want to be around and who we don't want around us, and then taking what they have to offer and owning it as our own. It's like I've learned so much from each of you, and I can take that and be stronger because now I have a fuller spectrum or fuller picture of what that should look like. And even though now it isn't based on fear of what people are going to think if I say this. It's based on the knowledge of I know what I want, and I want to articulate it, whether I say the right words about it or not, is based on what I've learned or what I've read or, but when it's experiences in life. And I think that's the difference in the groups we were having before, where it was specific to the group titles of etymology and ciphering, which I knew nothing about, or, whatever the groups were, all the different groups. And I think it's still going on. I think someone else is now doing some of the groups, but from my perspective and from what is comfortable for me, it has to come from an area of experience. But if I have not yet had that experience and someone else has, of course I have to listen to what they've been through in order to even know that that's an experience I want to have or something that I want to prevent from having. So the conversations that we have now, growing upon what we've learned about one another over time and embracing it and not being discouraged to stay connected because of what our preconceived. How much I appreciate you because I know you and I started off really strong, and I'm comfortable sharing with the ladies that's on the line now about it. But I know that it has drug itself up to date to where we think that there's something wrong with our communication. And I don't see it as that, and I want you to know that. I see that in phases that we go through. And sometimes it seems like a dark tunnel, but I see the light at the end of it. Hold on, let me check. Everything looks clear over here. Stand by.
Hi, this is Roxanne. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, but before you continue, Roxanne, I just got a message that I need to leave the line. So you guys go ahead. I'm going to mute the line, and I'll be back in a little bit.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, ladies, again. Sometimes I feel like I'm like this big hog, and I'm like taking up all the time going blah, 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 blah. Because all you guys are so very amazing. And I just, going to the idea or the subject of the potential and the fluidity and the intent and making sure that it stays pure. One analogy I can put to this is that, I understand the whole starving artist. It's all about the music thing, because that's where I've tried to keep and will continue to keep my music and that. And I'm trying to get, I know that there's a number of us that are all trying to get some things in our local communities up and running and going. And that, and me being able to be on this site has given me and emboldened me to think, oh, you know what? Hey, you know, I think I can perform now in front of people because you guys have been so kind in listening to me play the piano and the wonderful feedback and support you guys have given me for my own music. And now I want to be able to take all of this that you guys have shared and everyone else, you know, and bring it to my community and do this concert and you know, start this nonprofit fund. And again, the problem I'm finding is, you know, the warm bodies that are willing to, you know, give their time and expertise and all of that, to help. And, yeah. It is so hard to find people in my community to do that, but every time I go on the resistance board, it's like, oh, you know, can I help you with that? Oh, yeah, sure, I'd love to help you with that. Oh, yeah, I'll do this. And, you know, and we're bartering back and forth, you know, like, you know, Janet's giving beautiful paintings for the book, and I'm giving the music, and Ellen's helping with the compilation, and Carolyn, and you know, and then everybody's promoting it. I mean, I'm not wanting to leave anyone out, you know, because this has been totally amazing, and that. But I do need help with people helping me do the accounting and the banking end of my foundation that I'm trying to get going so that it can be nonprofit. And I'm not meaning to advertise or anything. I'm just asking my family as a community if anyone knows how to do grant writing or how to do, you know, the filing to make me an official nonprofit. I really need some help. So if there's anyone out there that you know of that might be able to help me do this nonprofit establishment. I've got everything done that I can do. Now I need a treasurer and a secretary, and both signatures have to go on any checks that go outside of that fund. And this can also work as a template for the things that we're trying to do for the nonprofit, for the resistance gatherings. And so I've posted a whole bunch of stuff on my pages so you can see the process that I'm going through and trying to get this done, so that, you know, we can translate it and do it, you know, for this family here too. And, you know, I've pulled a few people in, and I, you know, like Melissa and that have been absolutely wonderful about showing me how to do things. So here's a little bit of food for thought, ladies. You know, if anyone thinks that they can donate some time or references or advice or anything as far as me getting a secretary and a treasurer to be able to handle the accounting aspect of this nonprofit organization I'm starting, and also the concert I want to get together here in Idaho Falls, Idaho, I really need help, and I'm working with some of the airlines and that to see if we can get Janet Myers from the UK over here so she can participate in that. And if any of you ladies, you know, would like to come and be part of, you know, the performance, or you would like to display your art or anything like that, then we're working on, that's what this bank account is for, is to get some seed money, so maybe we can bring in some people from other areas and showcase your guys' arts and abilities. I mean, you know, technical abilities like web construction, any type of media, you know, being able to, like what Kashan does. She is a true artist in what she does, and I'm just letting you guys know that that's kind of what that little posting on my page was about and what I keep on talking about. So if we could come together as a global community and maybe get this first concert going here and establish this nonprofit, then we could also have a secondary one that could go in conjunction with but separate of the FFLOL that could actually go into the resistance funding. I know Kishan is working very hard to do that. All I'm saying is that there is another source here that is getting off the ground in Idaho Falls that can start help putting together funds and that for the artisans and things for the gathering in 2014. So I will keep you guys abridged of what's going on here and each stage on my page and also on the women's group. And if you guys know of anyone that can help me get this done, then the first concert, when it's done, then we'll have a template and we can go from there. Plus we can showcase what we do on the resistance and why we do it and all of the magnificent people we have. So, anybody that knows of anything that can direct me anywhere, I would be greatly appreciative of this because we truly do have the best people in this community to get things like this going. And yeah, so if anyone knows anyone that can help, let me know. I don't know if any of you have pen and paper. My cell phone number is US 208-206-1850. And that number is out there for any of you guys if you need to call and talk about anything. If you just need to talk and scream and yell at everything, I will answer your call. But also, if you guys could, send some people my way, I'd appreciate it. I'm trying not to make this into an advertisement. I'm trying to make it as a community thing. So, because all of you guys are so amazing. It's just incredible. And I'm so glad I can connect with you people. And any advice, you guys could send my way, I'd really appreciate it. And big, great, big, huge hug from me to you guys. Okay, I'll shut up now.
What you're trying to do is very special, Roxanne. Just hang in there. It'll come together, I've been trying to look for a place that I could fit in there and use, some skills that I have. I just haven't seen anything that I'm confident with yet that I can do, but I'm still waiting and looking because I do want to do something to help. But don't feel uncomfortable about asking for what you need because eventually you're going to get it.
Well, I'm telling you, Regina, you are really good at writing. I mean, and I need someone to be able to do that, that technical writing. But I mean, you've got your family and your your college and all of that stuff going on, hon, and your plate is very, very full. But you're an amazing writer and you have great concepts. I would love it if you could help with, helping to keep track of all of our minutes and all of that stuff when we have board meetings. But I don't want to overburden you. So, but thank you for helping. I mean, you've helped me so much already. So and thanks for the information of, don't worry about asking, just ask. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Well, we've been going at this call for a while now. I got to get off. Are you ladies still there?
Yeah, just a second. I'm sorry. It takes me a little bit to get to my mic. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm needing to go also. Got lots to do in that. But what an amazing, amazing, amazing chat we have all had. And happiness and wholeness and light and harmony be with all of you, lovely ladies. And
how about I share a song with you guys before we leave, or you could leave sharing a song. Okay.
Fantastic.
This is for Keyshawn. funny. Hold on one second. Thank you, ladies. I'm out on this.
You too.